Welcome guys to my review of the Canavie plus Carlinkit Carplay module smash cut. Let's start the car up. Okay, you're greeted with the standard Windows 95 interface that the car comes with for a 40 grand car, brand new. This is ridiculous. Anyway, so the way it works is I'm going to go through the functionality first, then I'll go through something what I did for the installation, etc., and then I'll do some pros and cons at the end. So let's start with how we get into it. So it's all wired up, and what it does is you have all your OEM features still, the Bluetooth, everything, reverse cameras, TV that I've got in here, everything that factory. But what it does do, it replaces the nav. So your nav button, your nav no longer works, or it's not displaying, and basically it's taken up the nav function, which will swap you into the Android OS. Okay, now I've booted the car up already, so this is a quick boot of the Android OS, and it's just basically kind of, if you think about an Android tablet but in a box, and now this has become your interface for your Android. So I've skinned this, just bought a skin off the Play Store, but as you can see I've got power amp installed, etc. So you can press play on here. Volume controls are still via the steering remote, and they're the main volume controls. So that's that. Now I've also installed a stalk in my car, additional stalk. So the factory steering wheel remote will only work with the factory interface and the factory OEM system. So this stalk is just basically £7 off AliExpress as well, which I've attached here. That's basically for the Android and CarPlay, and that works like that. So I haven't plugged my phone in yet, and I'm not using the wireless CarPlay at the moment. The reason being because I'm on the phone and it would just play havoc when I'm trying to record this. But that's really fast. It'll probably connect quicker as soon as you turn on the car, get into the car. It's already booted up. This is a 4-core system with I think 2 gigs of RAM. This was installed in 2019 January time, I would say. So there are much better units out there now, 8-core units with 4 gigs of RAM. So you want to kind of get the best and brightest. This is just the module one I bought, but you can obviously get the one that replaces the whole screen and does the rest of that functionality also. But this is half the price. I think I paid about £300. Okay. So let's do the CarPlay now quickly. So I'm just going to plug in my wife's phone. So as mentioned, you can do it plugged in, or you can do it via wireless CarPlay. So hopefully that should have, normally that auto boots in. If I hit that nav button again, just check, should unlock my wife's phone. Of course it's happening now when I'm doing this. Sorry, the phone was locked, I believe. Okay, so it boots you straight into your CarPlay. You've got your CarPlay features here. You've got kind of the Android system. This button will take you back out into the Android system, but then it's all touchscreen here as before. Music, maps, everything. As mentioned, if I use the controls here, the stalk, I've programmed it so I can just change all my tunes straight from here, and I can pause, etc. And I can also up and put the Android volume up and down, which is separate to the car volume up and down. Now the way it works is it uses the auxiliary function. Ignore all those. It uses the auxiliary function on the car as the input, right? So you've got TV, FM, DAB. So these are all factory features, right? That's happening. So you can listen to that, and you can still get the display up here for all your factory kind of information. Now, if you wanted to go back there, you just tap the home button. That would take you back to this screen where you can see the the standard interface, and you can play around with the different settings. So what you do is, in order to, you can still connect your Bluetooth, etc., and the Bluetooth will work in wired mode through the factory system, and it will override when you get a call coming in if you're in the CarPlay mode or the Android mode. And you can also use the an aftermarket generic mic which has there for the CarPlay stuff. So that's basically the mic for the Android system. If you want to kind of communicate or use the Hey Siri or Hey Google features within that. So the unit also supports Android Auto as well. It's kind of a two-part system, right? So the Android module is it's standalone, and I bought a little dongle which I'll show you in a minute that kind of works on the does the CarPlay and Android Auto. Okay, so let me just swap back into this. Okay, so that's my CarPlay, and then I'm just going to swap back into auxiliary, which will then, the sound is now back on the Android system and the CarPlay, and then I can just, like you said, play, pause, moves tracks, etc. All the touchscreen works. Okay, so you've got your maps there, and anyone familiar with CarPlay will know how it works. Everything's there, and like I said, Android Auto will also work here. Okay, so let's go through how I did this, installed this. So the installation was, one other thing was, I've got this handy little, where I've mounted the dongle for the CarPlay is here. Okay, so I've got an extra USB socket. So the unit comes with 2 USB sockets, which I've used an extender from eBay in order to drill a hole in the current plate, and I've mounted it there. Now this is the actual Android dongle. This is the one you want to buy.
So this is actually a CarPlay dongle, not an Android dongle.
Carlinkit. It's kind of the main one. It's not like a factory generic one, etc. They update the APK really well, the software that it uses on the Android unit. They keep it up to date, so you can always update it as you need, etc. And that one I purchased there is the wireless CarPlay version, as well as the wired CarPlay and Android Auto. You can just get the wired version, etc. It doesn't charge your phone. There's not enough milliamps for it to charge your phone, but what it will do is it won't drain your phone if you have it plugged in. It'll kind of keep it roughly where it is, a battery level at where you're at the moment. And that's just not a restriction on the product, that's a restriction on the USB ports and how much they put out. Okay, so the way I installed this was, we had to take this off and we had to take this dash off to get inside. Now, it looks daunting, but it's not really. There's so many YouTube videos out there how to take it off. There's probably a maximum of 10 screws you have to take off. This whole unit comes off in one go, and then all you have to do is this cubby is once this is removed and unclipped from here and here with 2 connectors that connect this whole unit to the electrics. This will kind of come like lever out like this, take that out, and then this is just taken out from here. There's a couple of screws on this side, and I believe there's a couple of screws on the other side, and this unit will come off, and then it will leave you just a screen and the DVD player inside, etc. And then what I did was I fitted it inside down below, and the cables they give you kind of all plug and play. There's no splicing or anything. It just connects into existing cable harnesses, etc. The only bad thing is they don't really give you great instructions which ones to plug in, but they can only go in certain harnesses, if you get what I mean. So they can only go into the certain sockets in the back. There's not really, you can plug things in the wrong places, if that makes sense. Other things to consider during the installation is obviously buying that USB extender, because you don't want USB just ports flopping around. And what I do, I bought a meter extension which kind of nicely goes through here. It's a really big passage in the middle that's kind of empty, and like I said, I drilled a hole through the existing plate and used it for the USB and CarPlay module, to add the CarPlay module as well. Okay, so that's kind of my review of the kind of the installation, etc. And unit. I don't think there's anything else that you need to see. Everyone's kind of seen the CarPlay before. If you push this, you should swap between the Android and the CarPlay. It'll boot up when you boot. I've set it so when the car turns on, it boots straight into this menu. and if the phone is connected, or if I've got it wirelessly connected, it'll automatically connect in the car. And I'm just going to unplug my wife's phone and just show you a little bit of the settings in the app. This is the app that controls it. As you can see, there's different kind of modes you can set on: night mode, left or right position, driving position, so your icons appear in different areas. The software version, if you're connected your unit up to the internet, like tethered via your phone, you can check for updates. It's not going to do that now, but they send regular updates with Apple changes, etc., for both the APK as well as the Android box itself, the firmware. So it'll update both. So that's really good. The manufacturer seems to kind of go with the times, and every time Apple makes a change or there's bugs they find, they seem to update them, and that will come over the internet and regularly kind of update. Okay, so some negatives with the overall, let's suppose positive negatives of the installation. Let's start off with the positives first. Okay, positives first is great. I've had no problems with it. I'm quite panicky with sound systems, etc. Music, I've got the 825 Meridian system, works great with that. You have sub control, you have bass control within the system itself. If I can bring maybe I can bring that up quickly. Equalizer. You've got a lot of controls here, especially on the bass, etc., which is great. Sounds amazing. There's no sound degradation because you're using the Android, which is good. Like I said, plug it into the car, it works straight away. There's no problems. You can customize this interface as much as you want. You can just get another skin or home screen from the Play Store to do one you want. I've got an offline maps there which I've downloaded onto the unit. I think the unit has 16 or 32 gigabytes of storage, so you can have an offline maps just in case. I don't think that's up to date though. You can have Spotify if you're connected to the phone, internet. You can use all these kind of features, etc. Negatives. Now the negatives are that with the main one I have, the gripe I had with was I had to install this separate stalk to get everything to work, to control the screen, touchscreen, etc. I didn't want to use the touchscreen all the time when I'm driving. I had to install this separate stalk. It's only £7. It's not that expensive, and it was very easy to route down to the unit. That's not a problem, but it includes some more installation of taking this bottom half down and sticking this on and screw it on. You can stick it on and run the wire if you wanted to make it easier for yourself, but I've screwed it on that it provided you with. Other things, issues with is with the Bluetooth. If you're using the phone in wired mode, then it's fine. The car Bluetooth is really good, right? So the mic system, etc., is really good in the car. If you're using it with on a wireless mode though, it gets confused of which Bluetooth it should be using. The Carplay uses both the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi in order to connect, so you're kind of it connects to the wrong one sometimes, so you can't hear people, etc. So you kind of have to either use it, if you want to use it wirelessly, you have to use the Android mic, which is probably not as good quality and is as the factory system and the array of mics it gives you. Or if you want to use the factory system Bluetooth, then you need to use the wired version of the Carplay. Yeah, or and on Android Auto you only get the wired version anyway, so there's no problems for that. It doesn't support wireless Android Auto, only wired Android Auto on the system. To be honest, I've never tried Android Auto on this system at all. Okay, so I think that's it really. Like I mentioned, all the factory things work. I'm just going to put it into reverse quickly, and you can just see it'll swap back into the normal mode for reverse, and you can see everything there. So if I wasn't in Android, if I was in CarPlay, etc., it would just swap between everything. You would still hear the music and everything else coming, but it would you can all the beeps and sounds from the factory parking sensors come through, no problems either. A few things I've missed on the negatives was the unit for some reason has a little bit of a bug where the brightness is too high. So the way, I know other people have complained about this also. I have told the manufacturer and they are trying to look into it to see if they can resolve it. What's good is the manufacturer is quite helpful, or the seller is quite helpful when they're coming for you to install it. They'll give you a WhatsApp number for you to help with installation, etc. There are some dip switches that need to be set depending on the Evoque or the Range Rover model that you have. They will send you kind of those instructions, but they're there for support and telling you what to do. Now, I have a report this bug. Now, the workaround I worked for it was, if I swap back, come on, oh, let's go through this way anyway. Okay, now the way I worked it was to install a screen dimming app. Where's it gone? Lower brightness, and this is automatically comes on when it's the car boots, so it doesn't cause a problem. And the reason I had to install this was the maps were really washed out. I couldn't see the roads, etc. So I turned this on, set this to about 69, 70, and then you'll be able to see everything seems to work fine. Like I said, it's not a great workaround because it does add a layer to the screen. So sometimes when you try to install things, the button doesn't work. You can't tap things properly, which means you have to go and disable this lower brightness, then install it, then turn it on again afterwards. That's one negative. The other negative is the CarPlay module. Because it's standalone, I've worked out it uses the phone's GPS and signaling instead of the car's. Now, when you install the unit, the Android unit in, it has its own GPS signal, GPS module. Now you can wire it to your existing car one, it's the exact same connection, or you can wire in the one they give you and wire it to somewhere, say example in this corner at the front. If you've got a heated windscreen like I have, you want to put it as close to the edge where there's no metal going across or there's no heating elements in your glass, otherwise it will cause problems with your signal. Now, that is a problem, as in your phone is, when it's under the car, under the roof, etc. And I've got a panoramic as well, that it does cause some kind of orientation issues on Google Maps. I've put a little pocket thing here, also got off eBay, that I've just wire tied to the back of this. That's where I leave my phone anyway, when plugged in or going on long journeys, and that kind of solves the problem. It's another workaround, but it would be good if the Carlink unit actually used the Android Auto's Android units module, GPS module, instead of antenna, instead of the phone's one, because it's more accurate. Guys, some more final conclusion points. At this point I feel like Columbo. When I installed this unit in early 2019, this was kind of the best unit or the best solution I could get to get CarPlay in my car. Now looking on AliExpress, there are a number of different solutions for this, including the replacement of this whole screen, etc., with the OEM functions though, but obviously with a nicer, bigger 10-inch interface, with CarPlay included. You can also get units now, similar Android boxes that I've got, with the CarPlay inbuilt already. I've never tested those units myself, so I can't really say, but they may get around the problems that I had regarding the GPS antenna issue, because then it would be using the unit's GPS antenna issue, which will be positioned in a much better place and giving a better, clearer signal. Anyway, that's my final thoughts, definitely my final thoughts now. Like and subscribe. I hope you liked this video, guys.